us, we have former U.S. Congressman Tom Tancredo, Republican from Colorado. He serves on the advisory board for We Build the Wall. You can go to webuildthewall.us. Congressman Tancredo, how are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you guys? A little snowy here.
Oh, really?
Chilly,
Oh,
but,
no, not
oh
quite.
man,
We've had some fall temperatures here in Arkansas, but not quite any snow yet. But that sounds exciting.
yeah. This was the first one for this season, I think.
What can you tell us, real quick? Let's talk about some current news. Being from Colorado, this is actually perfect. The president saying last night that we're building a wall in Colorado. What was your take on that? Because the media obviously is like they're piling on, and it's like they're waiting for him to make any sort of mistake.
Oh, yeah, exactly. How about? I don't think there was any that kind of reaction when Obama said that there were 58 states. He'd been in 57, one more to go, and thought Hawaii was in Asia. So, but anyway, when the Colorado, I wish we were building a wall to keep Californians out of Colorado. But unfortunately, I haven't seen that yet. And of course, I think he's talking about the fact that the Colorado River eventually dumps into the Rio, and so down along there somewhere it may be happening. I'm not sure. I know when he talked about New Mexico, I know that We Build the Wall, which is the group I'm affiliated with, as you said, did complete our first section of the wall, going from the Rio Grande all the way up a mountain called Mount Cristo, and it's on the New Mexico side. It's actually where New Mexico, Mexico, and Texas meet. So that may be what he was referring to there. I hope so, because in fact, it's a great. I know I'm going to sound like him now when I say it's the greatest wall that's ever been built on the planet Earth.
Well,
it's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, the president did come out this morning and say, kiddingly, this is his Twitter, kiddingly, we're building a wall in Colorado. Then I stated we're not building a wall in Kansas, but they get the benefit of the wall we're building on the border, referred to people in the very packed auditorium from Colorado and Kansas getting the benefit of the border wall. I mean, he's basically, I listened to the audio clip, but, it is what it is. But, I could see both sides to it. But, I mean, it's just, once again, the media, they got to find something to talk about, right? They got to find something to, continue this Trump derangement syndrome.
Honestly, look at all the things that Obama, this brilliant, articulate, incredible human being, look at all of the things he flubbed on. I mean, I mentioned a couple, but don't forget he could not pronounce or did not know how to pronounce the word Corps, meaning the Army Corps of Engineers. He kept saying corpse when he was reading.
Yep.
And, nobody said squat about that, right? I mean, I don't remember any big outcry. Of course, I made a few memes, but generally speaking, there was certainly no reaction, and there won't be whenever a Democrat does something stupid like that. Look at Biden, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Need we go farther?
Well, I mean, the Democrats in general, I mean, obviously we know there's a giant double standard here. I think it was this time last week, by the way, we're talking with former Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo. I think it was this time last week, Tom, that they had this White House meeting between Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and President Trump. And President Trump triggered them. They were giving a Syria update, a Turkey update. And President Trump mentioned something about, some of the communist ideology coming out of that section of the Middle East. And he said, maybe you like that, Nancy. I don't know, because, the Democrat Party's full of socialists now. And apparently that triggered her, and she had a meltdown. And then, of course, she said that Trump had a meltdown. And I'm thinking, first of all, why is this news, I mean, I'm to the point now, it's like, okay, we get it. You guys don't like each other. You guys are completely opposite ends of the spectrum,
Well, it is amazing. And earlier this morning, I was just walking through, and unfortunately, the TV in the room that I was walking through was on MSNBC. I don't know why. It never was. But and the person that was giving the, quote, news was saying, well, there's a truce now in Syria, and with the Turks. But and the president said that this is a good thing. However, what he didn't say is, and I'm thinking, what? This is a news reporter? I mean, I didn't ask what he did. He didn't say a lot of things, probably. He didn't say, hey, there was snow in Colorado. Yes. But it's not your business in the news to tell me what he didn't say. Tell me what he said. Don't add anything to it, and go on if it's newsworthy.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I'm so sick of it, and I hope most Americans do that. You just don't pay any attention to it anymore. At least, certainly, I don't. And I think most people are like that, which is why his numbers are still so high, even after 3 years of constant 24/7 badgering and belittling by the major media outlets.
Speaking of the media outlets, there's all kinds of stories. Anytime the president mentions the wall, by the way, they try to say that he's not making good on his campaign promise. But if I go over to webuildthewall.us, you guys have, from what I can tell, the last time I've been on the site, it wasn't here. It's a border wall tracker, and you click on that, and you now have these maps where we see San Diego, Yuma, Tucson, El Paso, and they're color-coded where you can kind of really keep track of the construction that's going on the southern border. Isn't that right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And, yes, it is true that many of the areas that are identified are places where there is some sort of barrier, but believe me, if you see what is there, you'd be hard-pressed to call it a barrier. Most of those areas they have something called Normandy barriers, which are those sort of X's, that big things that are designed to keep cars from going over across the desert, but of course has nothing to do with the number of people walking right past it. I mean, it's that kind of thing where they're saying, well, it's not really new wall. Well, it really is, because the wall they're building is a true wall, and so. There's a lot of it going on. It will continue to go on, and believe me, it needs to. It really is. It does really and truly work. It does prevent a lot of the, especially, I can tell you what happened where we built it in New Mexico along the border there, as I say. It cut off 19 different trails that were being used by the cartels to transport both drugs and people. And they are now having to go. I mean, I'm not telling you that, therefore, all of that stops. No, but they have to go now in an area. They get funneled into an area where it's much easier for the Border Patrol to actually interdict them.
Yes.
So, it's these things do work, and that's why lots of countries have them, and they work perfectly well. Israel, of course, being the one we always refer to.
Well, I mean, it really is something. I like this map. You guys even have the percentages complete. So, San Diego, you've got San Diego, 3 projects in San Diego, and they're under construction, 31% complete. El Centro, 16% complete. Then you've got Yuma, 18%. Tucson, 43%. 20 miles in El Paso, totally complete. And you guys can check it out right now if you need to do this, folks, just so you can have some reference point about what's actually getting done. It's webuildthewall.us, and you just click on the border wall tracker. We're talking with former Congressman Tom Tancredo from Colorado. Now, Tom, there's a lot of people that say, to your point, on the left, they're going to say, most of the drugs and the fentanyl and everything else that we seize, a vast majority of it is at the checkpoints. It's at where we're actually. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a second. We don't know what we don't know. Isn't that such a phony argument? Because we've got this border that's wide open.
That's exactly right. I mean, what does it tell you? What does it tell any thinking person? That if you are interdicting thousands and thousands of pounds of narcotics and other contraband at the border, at the check station, what does it tell you about what's coming through the areas where there isn't a check station? I mean, it's so stupid. It's beyond belief. It is if everybody, the traffickers, the cartels, they get to the border, it's just a line on the sand. Nobody has any real idea in many places where the border actually even exists because there's nothing there to identify it. But somehow they know it, and they stop. And they go, oh, can't cross here. We have to go to one of those ports of entry. I hope we don't get caught there. It's just ludicrous. But these people are ludicrous, especially when it comes to this issue. When you look at what's happening in Mexico, it is truly a narco state. Things are going to get worse in terms of people trying to get out of there. And as long as there is a way for them to get out, I mean, there's not much incentive for the government there to make the changes that may be necessary, if they're even able to. Because right now, it is absolutely anarchy in many areas, and it's getting worse. We know what's happening in some of the areas where there's actually major, almost like World War II battles going on between the narcos and the military, and the military is losing them. I mean, these are major confrontations, hundreds of people, and so these things that are going on down there are going to cause even greater problems for us if we don't secure that border.
What do you think, real quick, and I know this is maybe not the issue that you're focused on a lot, but I mean, you definitely understand that the border's been your issue for a long time. You wrote a book about it.
Indeed.
And we've talked about that before. By the way, it's In Moral Danger, the Battle for America's Border and Security. This was back during the Bush era when you wrote this book. But the president of the United States, Donald Trump, he's actually trying to tackle this. It's a very big issue. It's been an issue for a long time in America. He's finally doing something about it. And yet they're trying to impeach him for it, among other things. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts real quick, former Congressman Tom Tancredo, about this impeachment process that we're seeing play out in the media right now.
I'm telling you honestly that I believe a major part of this is the result of his position on immigration. And I'll tell you why. For decades, this country has been moving to the left. And it didn't matter if the Republicans were in charge or not. Sometimes it moved a little more slowly, sometimes quickly, but it always seemed to move that way, and so they all thought it was a done deal, essentially, that it was inexorable. And one of the things that they were counting on to move that process along, to change this country, to thoroughly transform it, as Obama said, into a socialist state, was massive immigration, both legal and illegal, of people who don't want to be American. This is a linchpin of progressive ideology. They have to have it. It's not just here. It's in Western Europe also. It is part of what they need to change America and the West, to move us away from the Constitution, the framers, Judeo-Christian values, move away from all of that. And I just cannot emphasize how important massive immigration from third world countries, people, low-skill, low-wage workers who will demand more and more from government. That is absolutely, it is, as I say, the linchpin. So yes, Trump's the first president who has ever attempted to reverse this process. And therefore, honest to goodness, I believe helps push this whole impeachment idea. They've got to get rid of him. They've got to go back to this leftward movement. He's the only thing that has stopped it. And so we have to do everything we can to help him stay where he is and be successful.
I completely agree, and I appreciate you spending some time with us this morning, Congressman Tom Tancredo. Best of luck to you. Keep up the good work at webuildthewall.us.
Thank you, sir. You too. Thanks for the megaphone.